Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. On this week's show, we are going to recap who's number 129, Vagners Rocha versus Kit Dale. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, my co-host,
Josh.
How you doing, Josh?
Great.
I'm happy to be here. We have some stuff to recap this week. So last week's show, we previewed who's number 129. We basically broke down some of the matchups, all the matchups. This week, we are going to eat some crow with some of our picks, and not all of our picks, but some of our picks. Also, that happened this week was BJJ Stars. We're going to cover that next week. It was actually a really fun event. There were some neat matches. Some replacements were in there as well. So instead of trying to like we used to do a lot more, lump two big kind of tentpole events together, we're going to do who's number one this week, give it its time, and then next week, because next week's a little bit slower, we'll recap BJJ Stars. So that's the framework of the show. As far as news this week, essentially, we now have almost every name announced for CJI. Craig Jones has just been dropping like video after video after video after video announcing people. I think the biggest news this week is probably that Micael Galvão is on Team New Wave. Suddenly skyrocketing that team because he was their alternate. That team is stacked. He is the last guy. Josh, don't look at the screen.
He's the wild card.
He is the wild card.
He wasn't the alternate.
I am not gonna. I mean, not the alternate, but like he was the guy we didn't know who was on New Wave yet. To have him in that 77 kilo slot is throws a giant wrench into every other team's lineup because now you can look at all the 77ers and go, can't beat Mika, can't beat Mika, can't beat Mika. Ooh. Like there's not a lot of guys in that tournament.
Well, here's the thing: you don't know the order that they're sending him in. You don't know where he is. That's like a big.
Oh wait, it's quintet. It's not subversion. Oh my god, I always forget they do it. I keep messing up how this event is going to run for CJI. I keep thinking that it is the subversion format or the ego format. Yes. No, it is a quintet format where it's like, hey baby, you got to field a team of all these guys at the ADCC weight classes, and then come tournament day, we're gonna let it rip and let the chips fall where they may. That makes it. On my end, it makes it more interesting and less interesting for different reasons because there's a bunch of 77ers that I would love to see Mika go against.
You got to stall him out.
Yeah, in the quintet format.
In the quintet format, you got to get him out of there.
Man, you got to hope that you're the smaller guy, even the smaller guy.
No, because there's not such a weight difference.
Unless Mika wants to be 4 minutes. Mika's going 8 minutes the entire time. He's such an interesting dynamic entering into this tournament where man, I'm so excited to fly to Vegas for this thing in a couple of weeks. So, Craig has announced a bunch of different names, probably in like 2 or 3 weeks. Probably in like 3 weeks. We'll do the preview for CJI too. We're really quickly, coming up to the event. Because we'll do the preview week 4. We might even do like a split preview like we have before, talking about some of the dynamics of the teams, and then basically doing a larger breakdown on CGI 2 as it is. So, should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Let's get into the meat of the show, Josh. Now we've gone through news.
Taters.
Vagners Rocha defeated Kit Dale in who's number 129 in the main event. And
my man dogged him. I picked against him.
Really
and
impressive.
He dogged Kit Dale.
It was wild. Like, if you look at the last couple of Kit Dale matches, because we talked about it last week, but Kit Dale has had a pretty striking level of inactivity until
a year ago-ish?
Not even, 4 months ago.
Who knows how long he was legitimately training to get back into it though.
Right, but I mean, as far as us covering him in super fight matches or tournament matches, he's just been gone for the vast majority of us doing this show. He went to acting, and then he came back, and we were all like, okay, so he can look like he's been gone for 8-7 years. He's done a couple things here and there. It's looked okay. And then he comes back in at Giles Trials, and we're like, oh shit, Kit Dale's a problem for a lot of people. And we're like, okay, he doesn't win Giles Trials because he has a bunch of matches. Then he goes on the tournament round, can't get it done. And then we see him versus Sanji, and I was like, okay, Kit's really good. He looked good at Giles Trials, and then he beats Sanji, and we went, oh, okay. That was an odd match from Sanji. What do we learn from this? But you kind of definitively beat Sanji. You almost passed Sanji's guard, which has only been done 5 times since Yellow Belt. And then you go on to take Vagners Rocha on. And we went, okay, Vagner can absolutely... The dynamics of this match, I think, kind of played out how we talked about it was going to play out in a Vagner victory. Like, Vagner did exactly what he needed to do here in order to take this victory from Kit Dale, but he gave Kit Dale so many fewer opportunities than I thought he would be able to, like, take away from Kit Dale. That was the thing that kind of surprised me the most.
It looked like Kit didn't want to shoot on him at all.
Yeah, because Kit will shoot late on a lot of guys, and he has underratedly good wrestling that he can, like, follow through on.
I think he was looking to counter wrestle, and Vagner was like, no, I'm just going to hang on your head and, like, push you around.
That was the funniest moment of the match, was just Vagner. He has a double collar tie on Kit, and he's just pushing Kit's head down, and Kit's, like, just kind of waiting for
he
Vagner.
was slapping the shit out of him. He kicked him a few times, and that wasn't a foot sweep. That was a kick, but, I mean, whatever. Cool. And just jawing at him the whole match. And then once he got him down and really started working, he just dogged him. Like, he didn't get to anything. I mean, he got to some good positions, but Dale didn't look like he was in, like...
He never let Kit get to the half guard that Kit wants to play there and then work for him.
I mean, he built up. He finally got up. He ended up on top at one point for a little bit, but it didn't. It looked like Vagner was slowing down in that last minute, but then he just got back up and was like, nah.
Yeah, that was. I was surprised by that too. I was like, okay, maybe this will be, because Kit tends to, in late in matches, have a big burst that wins him the thing. And I was like, okay, where's that? And then Vagner was like, okay, Vagner's tired now. Like, this plays into Kit's strategy of how he can probably beat Vagner here. And then Vagner just decided that, yeah, I still got that dog in me, as the kids put it these days. And we all went, yeah, we knew Vagner had that, because when, what was it, Owen O'Flanagan broke his foot in ADCC, and Owen looks, I think this is the match, Owen looks at Vagner and he goes, did that break? And Vagner goes, yeah. And he goes, man, you're really about the cause. And Vagner just goes, yeah, like during the match this happened. And then later submits him. But we've known Vagner was about it for many a year at this point. And this match sort of just kind of shows us what we knew about Vagners Rochas, that, like,
Didn't miss a step.
had a heart
Off
condition,
for a few months,
didn't matter.
Came back and said, "Bite me." Awesome. It was cool to see.
Yeah, man.
I picked Dale last week, and was I proven wrong? And it was still awesome. It was a great match to watch. It was very entertaining. Like, yeah, there was a lot of just, like, kind of pushing and jockeying for head position for a couple of minutes. But after that, it's like it turned into a Vagner match where he's just like, I'm going to go. And he just push, and he just set that.
It turned into the Vagner matches that I like, when
Yeah.
it's like, oh, Vagner knows that he has an opponent that's going to, like, Kit didn't really, like, get too upset about any of Vagner's antics.
No, it
like,
was just smiling a lot,
but
laughing.
that's like when Vagner does his best work, is when, like, actually when he gets in your head, he does even better work. But when he just he has a game opponent like Kit that will work with him, and then he can start funneling into the Vagners Rocha game, and he has these moments of, like, I don't like brilliance, but he has a couple of different moments in the match where Vagner runs away with it, and you're like,
he also runs him over and takes him down
repeatedly. Yeah, the counter. You could see the counter wrestle game was what Kit wanted.
Some of the shit that he was doing, though, I was like, what? He was like punch choking him, or he was literally like choking him, not a strangle thing. He was choking him. He definitely mufflered him.
Yep.
Hilarious. Love to see it. But he's like jamming his fist into his neck, and I'm like, do you think? I mean, I understand you're just trying to get him to move, but he's just like grinding away at it, and I'm like, man, that's gotta suck for Kid Dale.
I would love to have one round with Vagner, like a 5-minute gym round, just to feel like, that'll be the longest 5 minutes of my grappling career. It's just like, what did it feel like? I felt like I felt like, you see it on TV. That's what it felt like. That's exactly. It's as bad as you think it feels like. I bet. Like, I don't really want that round, but I think it'd be really interesting.
I mean, it would be interesting.
That can just collar the shit out of me.
This is how I
train.
train how I compete, and he's just fucking.
You ever seen
chopping at your neck? And...
You ever seen the videos with my son? Yes, Vagner, I've seen those. He just collar ties the shit out of me. It was super impressive. I kind of want to pick your brain, Josh. Where do we take Kit Dale from here, and where do we take Vagner? Like,
we keep them in the same thing where they're kind of keeping everybody in a rough age bracket kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just like set them loose. Find people in that that weight range that are going to do these things. Like you throw Sanjis, you throw the Boogies, you throw.
I kind of want to see
Dales.
Vagner and Sanji if they could make that happen. That would be a banger match because they've always been different weight classes. Like Sanji's always been heavier and Wagner's always been lighter until recently when Wagner went up in weight. Like now I'm like, again, it doesn't make as much sense now that Wagner beat Kit, but it's like that's a legends match from like two
would be
guys
awesome.
kind of like Wagner's not quite of the same era of Sanji, but like was a contemporary for 15 years there.
There's tons of matches that you could just like, it'd be cool. I don't think. I mean, he's in one, so I don't know if it's allowed. Marcelo.
Oh, but I think Wagner's like an 85er now though, and Marcelo's still I think a 45er.
What crack?
Not
are
45er,
you
sorry,
smoking?
677er, 77.
Have you seen Marcelo versus like heavyweights and shit?
Wico Rodriguez, yeah, many of them. I've seen all those matches.
I mean, it would be interesting. That's a complete like clash.
Oh,
of
that would be a
styles.
really interesting
because
matchup.
Wagner's like just hard nosed grind, and Marcelo is just flow. And Marcelo,
I want to see if we've seen this match, but we haven't seen it in the last 15 years because again Marcelo didn't compete for 13 years, but it would have been a whole different Vagners Rochas back then. But yeah, that like those kind of matches I think are where we take both these guys. Again, I was just really impressed that Wagner like just stifled Kit Dale's game completely. It was a wild performance. So anything else on that, Josh?
no,
While you look up to see if this match actually happened before.
I'm not finding anything in my very brief and quick search, but I think that would be a cool match to see how like I've always loved Marcelo's jiu-jitsu. I think it's great. He gave us X guard and single leg X, and was really like a big proponent of butterfly guard and things like that.
Like the game that I play is
Mean guillotines, dangerous north-south choke, things like that. And it's just fucking Marcelo. Like, Vagner can talk all the shit he wants, and Marcelo will just do that thing that he does where it's like, he just
got
gets
smiles,
that
you're
big
like,
smiles, whereas like his cheeks come up and it makes his eyes close a little bit. And he's just like, I don't know, man. Like,
I'm Marcelo.
I'm just going to have fun. And
It's great.
because, I mean, if you think about it, Imanari versus Marcelo Garcia, yeah, I'm going to watch it, but I had no interest in that. I was like, it's like Marcelo's going to stomp him into the ground.
Yeah.
That's all that's going to happen. Yeah. And that's what happened. I want to see something that I want to see an interesting match. Like, I know Marcelo is coming back from his whole health issue things, but I want to watch Marcelo do jiu-jitsu. I loved it when I got to see him in Worlds in the gi or in ADCC. And I would love, that's a match that I want to see. There we go.
All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about Wagner's daughter, the rematch between Adele Fornarino and Jasmine Rocha. This was a rematch from ADCC 2024 where Adele was able to get an armbar on Jasmine. We previewed this last week, and we kind of thought, I thought this match would be much more from the guard than it was. I want to get your take. Did you see that Adele put this into the legs, or did you see that Jasmine put this into the legs? If you remember,
it was
you
just
recall.
like continuously like attacking. Like she was like, this is where I'm going to be on the ground. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start throwing this. Here's the thing. They got knocked over. Adele goes for the bite first. That doesn't happen. And then I think Jasmine grabbed on a little bit before Adele did. And then they were, dual footlocking. Mm-hmm. And even Adele in the post fight was like, she had a good bite on it. I just got out.
Yeah, I liked because you saw the bite that Jasmine had. It was like a low ankle lock grip, which is a good ankle lock grip. She hadn't come over to the heel hook yet.
I think she was just going to go straight ankle.
Yeah, that's what it looked like she wanted. I think she wanted the control on Adele because you don't want Adele mobile around you to start countering. Mm-hmm. And so the straight ankle lock grip will like stifle a lot of that. And you saw Adele have to turn, make the turn, pull the foot out, and then sit back into the legs.
Well, that was the other thing is like she was on the leg. She was like, I got to turn my foot out. The other thing was she didn't have like leg control in the sense of her legs weren't wrapped around. She was on top of Jasmine's leg.
Oh, in the finishing sequence.
In the finishing sequence.
Yeah. The finishing sequence was wild here because it's basically Adele finishes almost like what we saw Gabby Pisana hit on Brianna St. Marie, which was like I'm just on top of your low leg, and I'm just kind of booting through, not kind of the same way that Gabby
She
did.
had like some sort of twisting motion because a little bit, like some
side
sort of
of the-
rotation
yeah.
a little bit because she was on top of it. And, I don't know what got messed up, but something got messed up.
Yeah, Jasmine looks like an injury tap. Like
Yeah,
very
she was like,
clearly-
and she was holding it, and it was...
It reminded me like a Kyotera lock in like this same with you have
But
an
that's
uncontrolled foot, but it wasn't a Kyotera lock. It's like
Kyotera lock isn't uncontrolled. It's the
not
fucking
uncontrolled, but it's
De La
inside
Hiva.
De La Hiva hook. Reverse De La Hiva hook there, or just De La Hiva hook.
De La Hiva hook.
What I thought was really interesting about this finish was that for years, whenever you did when you teach ankle locks, you always go, you have to have the control, have to have the control. More and more, especially recently in the women's divisions, we are seeing more women just like grip the foot and just go with like low side, no leg control on either side, and getting taps at like the highest level in a really interesting kind of way.
I wouldn't say there was no control though, because she was
not
on top of the leg.
Not the
And it
traditional
wasn't-
control you have. That's what
Fair
I
enough.
mean to say.
But she was on top of it, and that leg wasn't going anywhere. And once she went in and she just hiked into it, that was it. Not even 3 minutes, 4 minutes, something
I don't
like
remember
that.
the exact time on the match, but it was relatively quick. One of the things I thought was interesting, it was concerning, is we consistently saw Jasmine fighting Adele's hands in a lot of these early exchanges as they were going into the legs.
She's peeling with all those like tilts and everything. She's peeling, she's fighting the hands away. And maybe that's something that she does when she feels that she's not, it doesn't feel bad for her. Right?
Yeah.
You know how some people, because there were some things where it's like, oh, that might be bad. And she would just like readjust and then grip it. So it might just be something that she's used to where Jasmine grabs the foot and she's like, oh, okay, there's nothing here. I can fight with my hands and not just
And I don't have to
escape.
disengage. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Because I kept seeing her do that, and it's something that we used to see a lot of. And then the meta very much shifted to,
If you do that, your
get
leg's
ankle.
going to get destroyed.
yeah, where it's like, hey man, like I teach guys nowadays after like blue belt, like, hey, don't fight the hands. Like if you're fighting the hands, it's because like you are gonna get got, and it's like a last resort, like an oh shit, you have to fight the hands.
I feel if you're fighting the hands, as long as you're like coming up right afterwards.
Which is what Jasmine wants to do, which makes more sense like in the context of her game for why she's fighting. But it was just,
But if you're like fighting the heel hook, you're not peeling the heel hook out. Like you don't have that reach normally to do that unless there's a significant like size disparity.
something like that going on. I
A
just
lot
thought
of times you're spinning and you're
spinning,
you're
disengaging,
clearing the
or even
the knee line.
re-entering. But it was just
Yeah.
really interesting to see Jasmine consistently doing the hand fight, and maybe in the context of how her game works, like she's used to breaking off and then coming up and smash passing through it. But I just saw her continue to do that, and I was thinking while I was watching her do this, like I don't know if that's the strategy you want to be implementing with Adele. Like I don't think that you're going to peel her off and then stand up and crush through.
Maybe she saw something to where it's like I peel, come forward, and come into like a good passing position.
Yeah.
Or at least like
And then you
like a
don't
body
deal with her
lock
close
or-
guard as
yeah,
much. Like it
or the
gets you out of another
berimbolo or
position.
anything like that. Yeah, but no.
It was
Adele
just really
is
unusual to see at this level. That kind of hand fight on the feet.
fair enough, but Adele is like she's the under 55
And
the
absolute
absolute champion of
for
ADCC.
Yeah.
She's a beast. Like she is
Yeah.
really, 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 really good.
This match kind of went how we expect. I expected a submission. I didn't really expect a leg lock, but Adele is dangerous absolutely everywhere. I want to see Adele maybe versus Brianna St. Marie again. It's the only one of the weight class I can really think of for like the smaller women. I think Elizabeth Clay is an interesting match for me, but Clay's gonna be was gonna be not as much bigger as she used to be.
She's going to be a larger opponent.
Yeah.
Honestly, like she's done the absolute. Like throw somebody a little bit heavier at her.
Yeah.
Like
I'm trying to think of like what matchups would make sense for.
I mean, you're not going to see
Adele.
it probably right now. She's long out of the competition scene. I think her versus Michelle Nicolini
So
would have
you
been
say Nicolini, I would
a
love,
great match.
love to see that.
Who else is up there? What weight class is Adolfo's sister?
Baby Vieira. I think Baby Vieira is big.
Maybe.
I always get her weight class wrong. Maybe would be a good would be
Who
a fun
else
match.
would there be?
Ana Carolina Vieira, yeah.
From Atos. What's her name? In Worlds. She was always like 1 and 2. Why am I blanking on it right now?
I'm doing the same. Montero.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luis
That'd be a
Montero
cool
would good.
match.
But Montero's much bigger, but
It would be a cool
it
match.
would still be really fun to see her and Luis Montero go at it.
There's
some
a lot of matches that she could have. Did she go against Cravar? I know, again, weight difference, but
I think Cravar was under 60, not under 55. Could be wrong about that. So it would have been in different weight classes at that point.
if they haven't gone, that would be a cool match to see.
Yeah, especially now with how much Cravar's developed. Like, that would be a really interesting matchup to see now. Because, again, Cravar was like a teenager, still a teenager, but like was not an adult. Now she's like an adult and has just continued to develop her game. And it's been like,
She's got a lot of
impressed.
matches. It just somebody has to be like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. So
And then go from, we can do another Fion match too.
I really, honestly, am still really interested in that matchup. Like, there is any promotion that puts that matchup on, I'm still just jazzed for it. Even though the last one like wasn't that exciting, I understood why it wasn't that exciting. I would love to see that match again.
You could take any of the women from the Team USA or the Team Europe teams from Polaris and have a matchup with any of them.
Against Cicerelli.
Yep, that would be a good match.
That would be a really fun match.
Whomever.
So
there's a ton of good matches that both of them could have. Hopefully the injury wasn't like super significant and Jasmine gets back on the mat really quickly. But they both have, they're both young. They both can keep on kicking ass for years to come.
Rocha's 23 and Adele's 25. I didn't realize they were both that young. And I went, oh no, we're getting old, Josh. Like, a lot of the athletes we're talking about used to be like contemporary or like a little older than us, and now we're like, oh yeah, like 17-year-old prodigy on the mat, like, or later in this card. It just makes me laugh as time goes on. So let's move on to the next match. Speaking of young guys that massive improvements, Roberto Jimenez versus Ryan Aitken. We were really interested in this last week because Roberto Jimenez is one of the best back takers in the world,
and is getting significantly better, and
which is crazy.
It just like keeps going in an upward trajectory.
Now he's been at Unity. That big issue we saw in early like coverage of him was like, you have a good footlocker, you can footlock him. Hasn't been a problem in a couple of years. Ryan Aitken was going to test that. Ryan Aitken is one of the best dudes in the world in the CJI and in the BBI CJJ rule set, where guys are giving your back. You're gifted that position. Ryan Aitken is one of the best in the world at like, hey man, you get my back, does not matter. So that's the thing I was most interested in this matchup was, hey, I think Jimenez, as we kind of finished the show last week, I was like, I think Jimenez will probably get Ryan Aitken's back. But I do not know if he'll be able to finish it, because I'm trying to think of like the last guy that we've seen finish Ryan Aitken, in even like an EBI format on the back, and I can't think about it. A lot of times for me, the overtime kind of just like.
Did he get caught in PGF?
He might have, but I don't. Again, the overtime stuff for all those events kind of glazes over to me because I'm not personally super interested in it.
There's just like so much consumption in the.
We know he's really good there. Roberto Jimenez, for the majority of this match, was pretty one-way traffic, with the exception of a couple of entries into the legs that Ryan Aitken got. Ryan Aitken would get a good bite on something. He would go in. He would start to elevate, and then Roberto Jimenez would go, hey, dog, I've been at Unity now. You know what we have at Unity? Guys that are really good at legs and really good at taking the back off of legs. Hey, man, I can do that now. And we saw Roberto Jimenez go into like a pretty decent entry from Ryan Aitken 2 different times, and then immediately turn it into a forcing of the turtle for Ryan Aitken, and then Jimenez taking the back off of it. like a much smaller man too. Like Jimenez does not move like a dude. Actually, I say that, I've said that over and over again. We are seeing heavyweights in the sport that are now moving, because we're going to talk about it when we go talk about Roosevelt Souza. Roosevelt Souza is 260 and moves like that. And Roberto Jimenez, want to see a fun match, go watch Roberto Jimenez and Roosevelt Souza go at it at Worlds this last year. Really, really fun fireworks match for two guys that are bigger now that can move. The speed at which Roberto Jimenez takes the back, settles your hips, gets on your shoulders, and starts fighting a choke is wild at this weight class. Because he's always been good at it. He's been good at it since he was a 45er and a child. And we saw him get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and better and better and better and better. And it's a skill that he's just almost refined.
He's getting into like this groove that I'm enjoying. Like I like that he's going. He doesn't really need to like talk trash or anything like that, or like do really like call out stuff. I think it's cool. I don't think he needs to.
I mean, he called out Mourinho and Galvão, which
yes.
which are both matchups that I was like, I'm kind of down. Like after this performance over Ryan Aitken, like he unanimously decisions Ryan Aitken in this matchup. And again, for credit to Aitken, man, most other dudes are going to get put away by Jimenez, having that much time on your back, passing your guard, moving through. Like Aitken was in this the entire time on the defensive for majority of the time, but played good guard work, kept Jimenez honest in a lot of spaces that other guys will get blown through by Jimenez.
It was good matchmaking.
Yeah, it was. It was really good matchmaking.
Like, yes, somebody obviously won, but it was good matchmaking. Like, Jimenez, obviously, like, you're going to see him on all these cards. They need to keep in touch with Aitken and be like, yeah, let's get you to go versus this person. Let's get you to do this.
Yeah, man. Aiken's the guy I want to see like, on more main cards, man.
I just want to see him more. Like,
I want to see him outside of the EBI and PGF and CJJ like rule sets too, because he's
just on like
he's
the
really
higher.
Good. Yes, the big premier, bigger super fights. I think like he earned a spot, deserves a spot
for sure.
there. Winning PGF season 6 was like, yeah, man. Aiken's a guy that can do more than just these EBI tournaments.
Winning EBI, winning CJJ,
yes.
like beating guys that were like legit threats. It's like I want to see him more on more like higher level stuff, and just cards. You don't have to be like, oh no, Aitken has to go against whoever, like this top level dude. No, work him up. Like this is what who's number one does. Like let them work up and let them
build the division and like
sure. And again, like I appreciate that this who's number 128 was like what 2 months ago, something like that, yeah. But like keep them more frequent.
Yeah, I would love to see cards once a month. That would be like to run
if
divisions.
If you can't do once a month, that's fine. If you do it every other month, that would be perfect.
Yeah, that'd be great as well. I think personally, Pedro Mourinho or Micael Galvão for Roberto Jimenez are really hard matchups. Roberto, unlike most people in these divisions, I think has a shot at both those guys. If Roberto can have a performance like he had against Giancarlo, which again we talked about last week, ADCC Giancarlo versus not ADCC Giancarlo, I think that Roberto Jimenez has a pace that Pedro Mourinho can keep but doesn't like to keep. And late in the match, but Roberto and Pedro have had matches, purple belt, brown belt, black belt. Like they were in the same city for years. They have seen each other many, many, many times. They were both, I think, out of Dallas or Houston. They're in one of the Texas cities. I forget exactly which one they were out of, but we have seen each other go against each other a lot. At black belt, with Mourinho having made the changes to his game at black belt, and with Roberto continuing to show the level of improvement that he has showed, super, super curious about how that matchup goes. Because I think it's different than, I think there's like 5 matches between them in the last like 6 or 7 years. I think it looks way different. And Pedro Mourinho is the 205 champ. I think that's something for who's number one. I think that is something that Roberto Jimenez with this performance deserves a shot at. Like, it's an interesting matchup. Jimenez is going to make it interesting, and he's going to force Pedro Mourinho to like go gun for gun with him in a lot of areas that kind of bring out the best of Pedro Mourinho's game, where it's like, hey man, Jimenez is a dangerous enough wrestler now to force you to then have to counter wrestle him or offensively wrestle him. You are going to have to use your guillotine that we love to see, but we don't see a lot, versus Jimenez. And Jimenez is game enough where it's like, you're going to have to put him out to finish him with the guillotine.
Yeah, I mean, Jimenez is a motherfucker. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
He'll tap, but he doesn't want to.
You gotta like break it. Wait, didn't we see him
That-
versus Mika?
that-
We saw him versus Mika at was it an Aiga? Didn't we see him
can't
almost
remember.
break his arm like a couple months ago?
Was it at another BJJ Stars thing in the gi?
No, it was in. I feel like we just saw him almost break Roberto Jimenez's arm like a month or like I think in the last like 6 weeks or something like that. Like it wasn't that long ago. I forget who armbarred Roberto Jimenez.
BJJ Stars 15.
It was Mika.
Yeah,
Okay.
April 27th.
Okay, April. So it's been
Been a couple of months.
a couple months. Dude, run it
And,
again.
yeah.
Run it again, dog. Run it again. It's a match I'm down to see. I think Mika's a champion who's number one. I think off this matchup, man, Aitken is super dangerous in areas that historically have been problems for Jimenez. Wasn't a problem for Jimenez. He passed off of every leg entry that he got, and he passed even an open space versus Jimenez versus like the long, kind of the rangy guard that Aitken plays. Like Jimenez could deal with it.
Let's just see more.
Give him Marina.
Like, yeah,
give him
sure.
go. Give him one of the rematches he wants. That's like he wants the rematches. Give him one of those rematches. He earned it. So moving on, we have Max Hansen versus Gianni Grippo. Josh, do you want to? I think this one was a bit of an odd one.
This one was upsetting.
You gave me a good summary on the pre-show. We were kind of talking about this earlier. You gave me a good preview of like your takeaways. Max Hansen takes this via decision, and Gianni Grippo was like looked very confused. I was a little bit confused when we were training at the gym, and I went, Josh, what did you think?
Here's the thing. Honestly, I don't think either of them should have won. They should have called it a draw. Like,
Yeah.
so Grippo sits immediately and just starts going, but isn't really creating a whole lot of stuff. Originally through the match, Hansen, jumps on a leg, gets a bite briefly. Grippo gets out.
Yeah.
They favor Grippo in the first 5 minutes.
Which I saw, and I was like,
Okay, I
see it.
get that. Like Hansen's pushing in, he's not doing a whole lot.
He's not really over committing to the guard, but and as a result, because he's not really like throwing himself through. Gianni Grippo's like a world class guy. You're not probably going to pass him.
Cool. They gave it to Grippo. Great. Second 5 minutes goes through. We're working around a little bit. Grippo, goes underneath, tries to attack, lifts up the leg, runs him over, takes him down. He's on top now. Sweep. Right? Grippo is pushing through that entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Second 5 minutes end, Max Hansen gets the nod from judge's favor.
Mm-hmm.
That made me raise an eyebrow a little bit. I was like, okay.
But I think
But I was like, cool. Whatever.
maybe they see Hansen as pushing the pace more, and like
They might have.
he's making the bigger movements to try to get something going. Even if Grippo is successful with the sweep, okay, I can see that.
Grippo is pushing forward, trying to get around, not being super successful. Hansen again gets another butt on the leg, doesn't gets Grippo to turn and escape and pull out, and that's really it. Like there was a potential for Grippo to almost get swept. He comes up back on top. The match ends. It wasn't super exciting. I mean, it was a battle to get into their position.
It was very tactical, and neither guy got anything of
Significant.
huge substance going. It was like
Grippo got a sweep. Hansen got 2 looks at a leg, but looks, not like that was
entries
it.
into a position. We talked about it like on the show where if you're judging on submission attempts, like there's certain bites on a leg that are like, the bite on a leg that is him working towards submitting.
Yeah.
And there's certain bites that are like, okay, he's got the leg, he's in a position now to begin to get the control, to begin throwing for a submission. This was like Hansen was beginning and getting close to starting to be able to throw a sub on Grippo.
Grippo had to defend the control.
position, yeah.
But he got out. They give it to Hansen. Grippo's like, what's going on?
I think
I wasn't mad though. That's the thing. I'm like,
No.
okay, cool. This wasn't.
when I
Hansen
saw
took it on a week's notice. I get that.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Appreciate it. Didn't have as much time. Hansen was like, I think I would have done better if I had more time to prepare.
which I think is absolutely true
Sure.
too as well.
Great. It wasn't something that, like,
It does make matchmaking easy for this one, though, because Owen Jones dropped out of the last one versus Grippo with an injury. Now it's easy to go, okay, well, you beat Grippo. Like, Owen Jones was going to be the favorite in that matchup versus Grippo.
Owen Jones is going to be the favorite going in versus Max Hansen.
Right. But I'm saying it allows us, hey, cool.
It
was
allows
gonna
a
be Grippo.
matchmaking match, sure, but
Yeah.
like neither of them were like impressive in a sense of like showing something to where it's like, yeah,
It's
like
hard to be mad at the
somebody
decision.
came
Yeah.
away with the decision. It's hard to be mad at it, but you're not coming away from that match with like a lot of details to being like, oh, here is this thing, here is this. Like Gianni pushed, tried to force,
Yeah.
continuously was like getting that underhook from the De La Riva, trying to work underneath, wasn't getting it. You know, a leg entry came from that position. He eventually like tried to go and take the back from it, lifted up the leg, ran him over. Sweep.
But sweeps don't mean anything in who's number one, really. Is what
I mean, if that's the action, like let's say you
Right.
swept a guy like 3 different times, he stands up, you sit down, you sweep him again. It's like, okay, that's what you can go off of.
Yeah.
But again, if you're going off of we want you to submit, like even getting into the position of starting to threaten an attack,
That's what they want. Yeah.
that's
why,
going to
like-
put a point up. But it wasn't. This just didn't live up to, I guess, expectations, and that's why I
Yeah.
was more disappointed. And I was like, if Grippo would have won, I wouldn't have been upset. Hansen won, wasn't upset.
Right.
I just wasn't.
I wanted to see more.
I just wanted more. Like with these cards, that's the thing, and I understand that's what like they want to build up to. Is like I want excitement. Like I want to see this, especially now with no-gi being at the forefront of what grappling is. If you think of jiu-jitsu right now, you think of no-gi.
Yeah.
Like you're
Like
not
the
like
professional side of the sport is no-gi. The amateur
know,
side is still great, and there's still great
and people are still
gi
training in the
cards.
gi.
Yeah,
and
we
there's
train in the gi
great.
tonight. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I still love training in the gi, but most
But-
of what we talk about on the show is no-gi.
Most of the events going on right now, unless it's like a big, like unless
Big
it's
Brazilian
Worlds or
event.
Pans or,
Yeah.
or Brasileiros or BJJ Stars, and even then they're doing a lot of no-gi stuff.
Yeah, the GP was a no-gi GP this weekend.
People are shifting over to no-gi, and like with that, they expect excitement. And don't get me wrong, you know what had a bunch of boring matches? 80cc.
Yeah.
Like you're not
CGI had a couple of matches
Oh,
that
oh,
were
yeah,
like,
for sure.
We were in the arena going like, man, I'm excited to be here, but man, like not every match is going to be
Not
exciting.
every match is going to be Tackett versus
Cave
Rotolo.
the best match ever.
Not every match is going to be that. Like if you were like that, every match has to be that, you were going to be disappointed every single time. But like I could watch that match at a local tournament.
Yeah.
Like I could have seen that type of action at a local tournament. I've been in one of those matches where like nothing happens.
Yeah.
And like I won, and the other guy's like, huh? And I'm like, hey, I'm on the same page with you, brother. Like what?
I just like it is a bit frustrating because we know how good both guys are.
Exactly.
I want it. It reminds me of like what kind of like they got concerned the complaints we had against the Fion versus Adele rematch. It was like I get who you won. I just like I wish we could have seen some more because we know how good you are. That's more so like the frustration is coming from.
It's like you're disappointed in the outcome because you know it could be better.
Yeah. So
You know,
let's
and
move
here
on to
we
a match
are.
that had a very fun outcome. Roosevelt Souza versus Igor Tanabe. We haven't seen Tanabe in a couple of years because he's been focusing on MMA. I've watched some of his stuff. Has a fun MMA career so far. Roosevelt Souza, notably much bigger than... Yeah, I think it's funny that Igor Tanabe is the fat ninja and has wildly slimmed down in his adulthood.
I mean, a lot of those Brazilian nicknames are just like
But I think
making fun of something that you look like at a certain time.
Like Buchecha and like it, but it was just really funny to have Igor Tanabe. Like when we
Shoeface.
first started Shoeface, when we first started covering Igor Tanabe, like he was like a kind of fat kid.
He was chubby.
He was a fat kid, and now he is like a very slim.
But he started to slim down as he got up towards black belt.
Yeah.
And then now fighting, he's slimming down still.
Yes.
But what are you going to change him now? Like, you're just going to call him Igor the Ninja Tanabe?
Dude, he's
no.
the fat ninja. I
He's
love
going
it.
to be the fat ninja.
But it was funny to have the guy with the fat ninja be almost like I think 40 pounds lighter than Souza. I think he was 28 and Souza was like 64 or something like that. It was Roosevelt Souza
that's
is a
heavyweight,
big
though.
dude. I know, but
like
it's,
after 220, it's like there's no
Bro.
weight class.
everyone above 220 is 400 pounds. So Roosevelt Souza does not look like a dude packing 260 pounds.
My guy is like, you know what? I won Worlds. It's like I am ready to just rock and roll versus everybody, and he showed it. And he was pressuring on top and briefly got swept.
I want to talk about the finish sequence. Like talk about that whole sequence.
That whole sequence that starts from there. Like he got swept at one point.
I think it was less of a sweep, or it was a sweep. We saw Igor Tanabe look for like almost like an overhead butterfly guard sweep off of Souza trying to hip switch over the top. And then Souza goes, I'm getting swept over, rolls and jumps with it, then turns his hips flat to the mat. Igor Tanabe goes, cool, I'm going to get on top now. Almost gets on top, like turtle position. And then Roosevelt Souza rolls through. Tanabe goes, oh, you're rolling through. Tries to take the back. And we freeze framed it when we were watching it on the replay.
We'll go back a little bit. So he goes front headlock position and starts to rotate. And Souza...
Tanabe does. Yeah.
Tanabe does. Souza goes, okay, you're going to try to take my back. I know you are. So this is what we're going to do. You're going this way. Great. And he tucks his elbow in right by his knee. And Tanabe jumps over. Because there was a potential where he could have grabbed his arm right before the sequence started and gotten him into a crucifix position and started working from there. But didn't do that. Jumps over, gets way too overzealous on it, doesn't get the position. Souza was like, I'll come up, nah, and then just grabs his leg.
Well, it was great. What I love to see in that transition as well with Tanabe jumping over the back, you saw Roosevelt Souza be really diligent. Elbow comes in, and then he immediately turns the corner and grabs Tanabe's leg. And Tanabe goes, cool, I'm knocking in the back. Tanabe rolls under and goes back to guard. And then you see Roosevelt Souza go, cool, back on top again.
Heel hook time.
Doesn't matter. And then Tanabe's leg is a little bit like extended. Souza goes, cool, I would just have the sequence. I'm going to have to like work again to get up to start passing again. Let me gun for this leg because it's here and let me see for it. He goes, what I love to see in pro tournaments.
He went heel hook, toe hold.
Well, what I love to see in pro tournaments is a guy goes, like, I'm going to gun for this. And Souza drops back and just like he throws the heel hook so hard that his hand slips off. And I went, oh, that's a big dude to be throwing a heel hook that hard.
Terrifying.
This is why I love pro tournaments, though. For that reason, it's like that dude is, this is a heel hook with money on the line. Not disrespectful, but just like there was a speed. He chucked it so hard that he slips his own hands off. Tanabe goes, that's bad. Roosevelt Souza is going to try to heel hook me. Tanabe, I think this is where the error in Tanabe's game.
He shifted, gets caught in the heel hook again. It's not good enough. And Roosevelt goes, cool, your foot's still here? Toe hold. And I'm like, that's not a good position to toe hold. And his leg comes off from control. For some reason...
For Tanabe,
he didn't jump over the leg to be like, okay, you can't rotate this because I'm coming down on top of the leg. And then shoots his legs in between Roosevelt's legs and locks himself in.
I think he was trying to counter back take. That's my only solution of what I think he was trying to do is he was trying to counter back take off of the toe hold. And Roosevelt Souza...
Not from there.
And Roosevelt Souza goes, hey man, I'm a 260-pound world champion right now.
I'm going to turn your shit.
I'm gonna not let you... You need to make an angle to stop this toe hold from blowing your leg out. And now because you're trying to crab ride me in like back take, you cannot make that angle. I'm going to finish the toe hold. It was just a really interesting kind of like cat and mouse game of defense and offense. Like credit to Tanabe, like he's not just trying to pull out and he's trying to counter the leg lock like we saw Jimenez do versus Ryan Aitken. Like you're trying to counter the leg lock to get to a back position because you just kind of saw the back a second ago. Like it might still be there. You're thinking, okay, maybe I can't get this guy's back now. But Roosevelt Souza being like just a straight up veteran goes, yeah, man, I lose nothing by going for this toe hold here. And now you're locked in and I have good enough mechanics to just finish it. And you see Tanabe like scream tap and it was like, oh, I hope his leg's not hurt.
Yeah.
But the whole sequence was just a wild to see Souza move at that speed and to see like the little adjustment he makes to stop the back take, put himself back in top position and then go, I'm going to go for this leg because it's here. This is what I want out of a who's number one match. You got to get guys that are going to like Souza was absolutely winning this match. He could have just done positional work, dominance, and continue to kind of pressure down Igor Tanabe because Tanabe is a guy that wants to play guard. It plays into how Souza wants to pass. And he decides to sit back on it and make it work. Like I appreciate that level of gamesmanship for guys like Roosevelt Souza. Roosevelt Souza was very much like oddly becoming a guy that I get really excited to see on cards.
For sure.
I think we first covered him on the IBJJF GP that Cyborg won back in like 2018 or something like that.
I remember seeing him before
he had popped up and we were like, and he was a guy that we like kind of had written off at the time. And then to watch him like kind of later stage career make the level of improvements he's made to win a world title. And then now like he was a pretty slow paced fighter for early parts of his career. And he's really changed that nowadays. And it's exciting. And I'm super happy to see those on these cards. Let's see. We have
that was the main card.
Yeah, that was the main card. Let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff on the undercard, but I do kind of want to run through and not have this be a 4-hour show as we do sometimes, Josh. We had Lucas Lira versus Sean Yadamarco.
Lira was in control a lot of it.
I think this note is wrong here.
It's not, but Lira was in control a lot. He was ahead on it. He stayed on, but he got put into a couple of like positions, but for the most part, he was just in control the entire match.
Top position, pressure down, really not letting Yadamarco get into a lot of what he wanted. It seemed like the kind of match that Lucas Lira wins, where it's like, yep, I control you, I pressure down, I stifle what you want to do, and then I have opportunities, like almost like a Vagners Rocha match. And like I stifle you down, and then in moments I look for stuff and take.
And it's also a good opportunity to showcase himself in a new weight class.
Yep. Next one, we had Michael Sains versus Nathan Chung. Man, credit to Sains.
In control the entire match.
Yeah, man. He put a pace on Chung. I really thought this was going to be like a new guy versus a veteran. Like Chung's a veteran. And I was very curious if Sains would be able to deal with Chung. Absolutely can deal with him.
Not a single problem.
Yeah, man. This was one of those that goes to the decision. You're like, yep, that was clearly like Nathan had a good showing, played a lot from the guard, most of the time from the guard. Sains was got good positions here and there, but it was very clearly Sains' match for the majority of this. It was a lot of him not being able to pass Chung's guard, but being the aggressor all of the time and stifling any of the sweeps that came off of it.
For sure.
So let's see what else we got.
That was who's number one. Yeah. There was the undercard. That was the other thing.
Jay-Z Cavalcante versus Jake Driscoll. I do want to talk about that match.
I mean, that was a quick one. Jay-Z came out like super hype.
With this like good kid in front, like walking out.
Yes.
I was like, Jay-Z Cavalcante, you're a veteran.
Driscoll coming in and like starting the attack with that omoplata, and then like going for it, and then it just went like footlock to footlock really quick, and then Jay-Z was like, "Oh, this is here."
Yeah,
Sick.
that's basically what it looked like. Jay-Z got into the feet, got into 50-50, and then looked and kind of went, I'm just going to dig first. And he just dug for the heel hook before Jake could finish digging for the straight ankle. It was a straight ankle versus heel hook battle, essentially is what it was. Inside 50-50, Cavalcante just kind of boots the arm down, gets the grip and bite, and then he doesn't do the long finish where you kind of lay back on it. He does the top finish where you kind of hip your chest into it, and it allows you to finish faster.
Quick, yeah.
Especially if you're getting in a 50-50, it is the way you should be finishing because you need to block them from rotating their foot out. And it was just a battle of who gets to it first. And Cavalcante was very clearly like a beat ahead in like chest turns and tempo on the lock and got it. I think fastest of the night. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We also had Jocelyn Molina defeating Amy Grande.
That was the thing because you were like, it's a teens match, and I was like, all right, cool. And it's not. It's just a teen versus a full-grown woman.
It made me laugh because there was a teen and then a woman with tattoos. And I went, is this a teens? Because I had skipped the intro, and I had to go back and watch the intro because I thought this was a teens match. I was like, that woman clearly has a lot of tattoos. I don't think that's allowed for children. And
Jocelyn was just on her from the get-go.
Dude.
Like just down on top.
The counter arm drag she hit in open space to get the back. I watched twice and went, oof, I'd be hit with that. Like I went, she is a teen. I would not have been able to stop that. and I felt for Amy. I went, I feel you. Yep, they're coming for us, Josh. The younger generation has a set of skills that I do not have.
I've just been training since they were infants.
The Rotolo team here. I don't like that we're seeing more of these. It's
Just
a modified head and arm.
It's a head and arm.
Yeah.
Just like a reverse head and arm. It's just somebody saw it. They were like, we're going to call it that. And then everybody started calling it that.
Yeah. Because I used to think it was an arm and rear naked choke. An arm and rear naked choke is different to me. Because an arm and rear naked choke is like from the back, head to head, standard. The Rotolo team, it finishes like an arm triangle.
Man, it must be nice to have long limbs.
Yeah, Josh, we're both troll men. It would be great to have the attributes. Again,
I don't think I could do that to a child.
That was one thing I think I want to go back and watch this because I didn't specifically note that Molina had super long arms. To get this, it's usually an attribute. It is usually because of the Rotolos. Usually an attribute you need. I don't know if
I wouldn't say they were super long, but I'm just saying like that's what the thing came from because we're like, oh, those lanky children, young men, whatever, just snapped it on there. She did the same thing. She had a great positioning. She was off to the side for the head and arm and just called it a day.
Yep. Yeah, really good. Next one we had Andre Porfirio versus Louis von Schunreck.
Linus.
What did I say?
Linus.
Ugh, it's written down there too.
Porfirio just...
I thought Linus took this one.
No.
This
might be... No, it's correct. Porfirio definitely won. 100%.
All right, well, we're going to have a rare moving on moment on the podcast because I just have a bunch of wrong information then in my head about this match because I'm pretty sure it was a nice passing sequence there where Linus was on top. He gets the head and arm on Andre. He comes down. He chokes down. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I go back and watch this. It was a very fun match. In this match, you saw something we're seeing a lot more from. Apparently, I have the competitors wrong, which is weird because I think I know who Andre Porfirio is.
Are you sure?
No, not right now,
Do you want
Judd.
me to bring it up on YouTube?
Not right now. No. Let's not add insult to injury here. The moment in the match that was very interesting to me is something that we're seeing happen more and more.
One guy was doing this one thing, and the other guy was doing another.
That's about what I'm going to say, Josh. We're seeing more and more people counter pass off of someone going for a leg for an inverted knee bar position where you're in the guard and you scoop under for a leg, and we're seeing more and more people just collect the head and just cradle position pass from that someone going and overextending for the leg and not having the legs in front of them.
Now you're making me second guess myself, and I'm pretty sure that I hate you.
I'm pretty sure that Linus did this to Andre Porfirio in the match. I'm pretty sure this is the thing that happened, but it is not important. What is important is that it is a thing that we are seeing more and more frequently happen as we are seeing people continue to enter and use the guard almost solely in no-gi as a leg entering position for K guards and inverted guards. We do see some arm bars occasionally from the guard, but nowadays, the majority of no-gi jiu-jitsu, you are using the guard to enter into the legs. That is primarily what it is used for, and so it's a nice little meta counter that we're starting to see more and more, is people pressure down with their chest, collect the head with a loop, and then pressure and pass off of that. We see it a lot. It's always been there. It's always been a thing you could do, but it's funny to see it come back to resurgence.
Porfirio won.
Okay. Also on this card, we had Tristan Sainz versus Mateus Jimenez. This was, again, both Sainz brothers took the matches on the card. It was very funny to have, again, two brothers on the undercard.
I appreciate that they're not doing the full 15 minutes for all of the matches. They're doing 9-minute rounds.
I like that. Again, shorter rounds. I've said it for years. 15 minutes for the majority of matches is too long. Most professional matches, I really think 8 minutes is the max. The way the ADCC does it for all trials and other stuff, 8 minutes. Even AJP, I like the 6 minutes. 6 minutes sometimes a little short, depending on the competitors.
6 minutes is good if it's in the gi.
If it's in the gi,
because it makes you,
it makes you work.
Work.
I do again, ADCC is really my favorite rule set. I think it's the one that kind of gives the best mix of hey, do whatever you want for half of it, and then you have points. And so it allows there to be like less decisions and more like, hey man, you couldn't sub him in the time you could sub him, and then you couldn't score points in the time to score points, so you lose. He scored. Like, I just think it removes a lot of ambiguity. They also had Carlos out there, who's one of the head referees for ADCC. Like, he was doing some of the scoring and the judging on the side there. He was very clear in some of the shots. Shout out to him. He gave us an interview a couple of years back on the show, and he's a guy that I pull from, frequently when I have questions. He's one of my go-to guys and super great for the community. He's down in Miami, and so it was nice to see him there on Who's Number One in some sort of official capacity with the ADCC shirt on. So overall, it was a fun event. It was long. I think we had how many matches? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 5 hours for 11 matches is pretty egregious. It is, man. It's like that is far too long.
The commercial stuff, all the stuff. Like, I understand, like, you're trying to clean up the mat in between. You don't need it. It's
a UFC card is 6 hours. That's 12 professional fights. Like those
are too long.
Then that's too long. But I'm saying, like, that is the benchmark of, like, a UFC event is more matches, more fights, and a little bit longer.
Well, think about it this way. Like, the main card, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Times 15. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's long. I get it's long. That's why I think, like, a slightly shorter match. But again, a 5 hour event is really hard to get a group of people together to watch card to card.
For sure.
Like,
especially on the East Coast time.
I think I think these things need to be about 2.5 hours.
You're never gonna get that though. That's the thing.
Almost every other grappling event, Josh, runs a 2.5 hour main card.
What? That's what I thought.
I think Polaris. Most of those events for the broadcast piece on the main card.
For the broadcast piece, right?
Okay.
So for the broadcast piece of this started at what?
Yeah, maybe you're
9
right,
o'clock?
Josh. Maybe you're right, Josh. Maybe you're right. So, Josh, anything else?
Finish at midnight? 3 hours
Something
technically?
like that, yeah. Just felt long. There's a little more downtime than I would like.
Oh, Grumpy Greg over here.
Yeah, there is that. Josh, anything fun going on this week? I got nothing else. Next week we'll be recapping BJJ Stars, the heavyweight GP. There was some changes to that, so it'll be fun to run through.
You probably won't have to listen to my voice next week, so thumbs up to that.
Maybe. You never know, Josh. I'll bring it here too, Dead Josh. And then, basically, I think 3 weeks, we're doing previews for CGI too. I am both looking forward to that and not looking forward to that because the preview shows, the preview shows are the shows that I look back on years from now, and like I always get the most like benefit as a showrunner from doing those shows because the research that is required to be done to do those shows is
the
like
ramblings of Maine.
It is incredibly tedious to do, but I think back like what I've learned from competitors having done that. They're always very helpful to the show. So it is fun. It'll be exciting to do that for CGI too.
My favorite part of it is you losing your mind, making sure that you're bringing everything to the event, recording things, and then some of it not even being used and you being stressed about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of that too.
That's my favorite part because you're like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, Maine, relax, have a good time, get some stuff done, get it out, call it a day.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing this time. But I'm saying the preview shows.
You're like, here's this. And he's got a full spreadsheet
Yeah.
and he's got papers. And he's like, guys, we need to pull from this and do this. And has this person gone against this person in these kind of rule sets? Is this going on? Well, because it's a team format. Oh, it's wonderful.
It'll be fun. So, Josh, you got anything else?
No.
All right. As always, this is the show. I am your host, Maine. To my co-host,
Josh.
And we are the Grappling Rewind. See you on the mat, whatever it is. Stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.